Heavy, waterlogged soil with poor bearing capacity hampers construction of traffic surfaces. Stable subsoil with good bearing capacity is, however, a basic prerequisite for long-lasting roads, railway routes, runways, site access roads and industrial areas. Innovative soil stabilization methods that employ the addition of binding agents are the solution. They provide lasting stability. Soil samples taken in situ are subjected to various different tests in the road laboratory. With a combination of sieve and sedimentation analysis, the grain fractions are separated so that grain size distribution can be established. A further test for material identification is the liquid limit and plastic limit test. This enables portrayal of the plastic properties of the soil. The grain size distribution and the established plasticity and consistency indices enable the soil type to be determined by means of a table comparison. After soil classification, the Proctor test is carried out to determine the optimal water content of the soil. The deformation characteristics of cohesive soils primarily depend on their water content. In the test, the maximum possible density of the soil is established and documented. In the next step, Proctor tests are carried out with the addition of binding agents. Compressive strength is generally tested after 7 or 28 days. Until then, the test specimens are protected from drying out and, prior to the compressive strength test, are soaked in water for 24 hours at a temperature of 20 degrees. The freeze-thaw test provides information about the behavior of the soil under extreme weather conditions, and, together with the compressive strength test and the Proctor tests, about the required amount of binder. The amount of binder per square meter of soil established in the laboratory test is distributed across the construction site by spreaders. To improve the compactability of wet, cohesive soils, lime is mainly used as a binding agent. The soil is improved. To increase the bearing capacity and the frost resistance, cement is used. The soil is stabilized. In case a combination of both is required, mixed binding agents are used. Binding agent spreaders from Streumaster fulfill this task reliably, precisely and efficiently. Independent testers from an authorized inspecting body use a spreading plate and electronic scales on site to ensure that the specified amount to be spread is adhered to precisely. The Streumaster technology is perfectly controlled electronically and guarantees consistent and precise spreading of the binding agent, regardless of location or surface. Self-propelled binding agent spreaders on trucks or special vehicles, as shown here, also operate in the most difficult terrain. The next phase is homogeneous mixing of the binder into the soil. The soil is processed, improved and stabilized. Wirtgen stabilizers carry out this operation precisely, thoroughly and rapidly. If necessary, water can be added during the mixing process. This process is microprocessor controlled and takes place directly in the mixing chamber via built-in injection systems. Use of a milling and mixing rotor to mix in the binder not only allows the binder to be worked in evenly and consistently, but also homogenizes the soil. With working widths of 2.0 meters to 3.0 meters and a working depth of up to 50 centimeters, Wirtgen stabilizers ensure the necessary deep action. The variable mixing chamber adapts perfectly to any working depth and guarantees optimal mixing of soil and binding agent at all times. The use of binding agents in earthwork construction increases cohesion of the soil and ensures that shear strength is noticeably improved, thereby sharply increasing bearing capacity. Stabilized soils cushion any shear forces that occur. The entire subsoil becomes consistently and evenly load-bearing. The subsidence that sometimes occurs on roads and railway lines built on unstabilized ground is reduced and sometimes avoided completely. Use of Wirtgen soil stabilization technologies avoids the otherwise time-consuming and costly soil replacement. After successful application of the binding agents, HAM pad-foot drum compactors take over the compaction of the homogenized soil. Pad-foot drum compactors ensure that the compaction action reaches deep into the soil. Depending on the compactor's weight, pre-selected frequency and amplitude, and on requirements, the final compaction depth can be up to 50 centimeters. With soil pressures of between 1 and 4 Newton-meter per square meter, the soil is kneaded and compacted from bottom to top. Graders ensure that the compacted soil has a surface that is true to line and level. For final compaction, HAM single drum compactors with smooth drums and/or rubber-wheeled rollers are used. Density of the stabilized soil is tested on site. Depending on the soil consistency, the densitometer or the sand replacement test provide information about the degree of compaction. Both methods can be employed simply and reliably on the construction site. The water content of the soil is also precisely determined and documented. Test specimens are also manufactured from the mixed soil to be tested and fully documented. Once the soil has been compacted and improved in this way, further construction can proceed. Construction depends on the amount of stress to which the structural elements are exposed. The higher the percentage of heavy vehicle traffic, the greater the dimensions of the bound upper layers. After paving of the frost blanket, and depending on the construction project, a hydraulically bound base course or an asphalt base course is applied on top of the stabilized layer. With sections of road exposed to extreme load stress, concrete carriageways aimed at achieving the highest possible durability are the best choice. This is where the Wirtgen slip-form pavers come into action. With variable working widths, paving takes place either directly onto the base course or in combination with a hydraulically bound base layer. Soil improvement and soil stabilization using Wirtgen Group technologies creates stable, lasting traffic surfaces such as roads, motorways, railway routes, industrial sites, embankments and runways. Streumaster binding agent spreaders come in numerous shapes and sizes, ranging from mounted spreaders and towed spreaders to built-up spreaders and special carrier vehicles for extremely difficult terrain. The Wirtgen range of soil stabilizers, equipped for every eventuality, from tractor-towed stabilizers for small and medium jobs to the self-propelled WR series with working widths of 2 to 3 meters for large-scale construction sites. HAM compaction technology guarantees lasting, in-depth compaction. The Wirtgen Group, innovative technologies for soil stabilization.